Hi everyone, Mike Lambo here, and today I'm going to have a go at mission 13 of Fields of Normandy, one of my game books available on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description with this video. Okay, so mission 13, one of the later missions. I thought I'd put a playthrough on of this one just because it shows quite a lot of what's at play in this book in this particular mission. I think the only thing that's missing will be German half tracks, British Piat, like bazooka types, and minefields. So they're in as well. But this mission's got everything else in it, so it's just a chance to have a look at a slightly more advanced mission. So I've set the game up. I've got a turn tracker here on turn 1. I've put the German HMG at the top here in its position. You can see there it signifies it's facing downwards, so I've put that on the edge of that hex to reflect that. You can see I'm using small coloured cubes here. I like to do that on these books. They tend to lay fairly flat, so it's quite easy to do. I can use miniatures or homemade tokens, or you can just simply write in the book as sort of originally intended, but I do prefer to do this. It just aids play and replayability, I think. In terms of my units, set out over here, my starting units, you can see I've got 3 rifle squads. It says ABB, it should say ABC. That's been corrected in all books that you would buy now, so don't worry about that. So rifle squads ABC, doesn't really matter anyway. You've got 3 of those. They hit on an 8+, that's with 2 dice. If they throw a grenade, they hit on a 6+. And I've got a light machine gun team. Sorry, the rifle squads are these 3 orange cubes. The light machine gun team hits always on a 6+, or basic 6+. That's the purple cube here, and I've got a mortar team, which is just a support unit. It can't direct fire itself at enemy units, but it provides a useful -2 bonus to the to-hit value, but only from exactly 2 hexes away from a target, so that starts here. Well, I've started it here. You can choose where to start them. There are 2 starting hexes in this mission, so these black triangles denote those hexes. I've decided to have 1 rifle unit over here, hoping to use him to scout this building. Again, you scout from exactly 2 units away, and only rifle units can, or rifle squads can scout, so it's important to think about that. So I'm going to set him over here. The others I'm going to take over here, try and bend them round, try to get rid of this artillery piece fairly quickly before then pushing on up the board to other things. The objective here says to win, reveal and clear all German units before time runs out. So those German units will be on these question mark hexes. There are 5 of those, plus the artillery piece to remove, and the HMG, of course, there. So lots to do in not too many turns. And I'm going to put, so I should have put something for the artillery. I just put a brown cube there for the artillery, just so we know when it's been destroyed I can remove that accordingly. Okay, so you've got orders down here. A lot of these game books of mine work with sort of restricted order mechanism. So what happens with this particular book is that for each of my units I get to roll 2 dice. If they I get to roll 2 dice, and then depending on what's rolled on this chart here and which squad I'm operating, I get to carry out various, or choose between various orders, and you know, using those to the best I can to achieve the outcome. Time is often a bit of a restriction. Played this yesterday, this mission, and I won. Managed to eliminate the HMG on the final turn. So pretty close run thing. So you've got to be efficient. So one of the key mechanics, one of the key sort of tactical considerations is moving cautiously, but bearing in mind at all times there is a limited turn count, so you can't just sort of sit and wait for the perfect combination of orders at all times. Sometimes you have to sort of make that call as when to go and when to stay. So let's start off then. I'm going to start with I go first, so I'm going to start by activating this unit here. I can do them in any order I want. I'm going to start with this rifle squad here, and I'm really hoping to scout, as I say, this building here. And if I manage to scout, I'll explain why it's beneficial to scout. The only scout order there is this SCO here. And you can see that I would require a 2 on a d6 to have a chance, or to have the option to do that scouting order. So hoping for a 2. What do we get? We've got a 1 and a 3 there, so not much help. No, rallying is irrelevant. That's the RAL. Rallying is irrelevant until a unit has been hit, and I can't throw a grenade because there's nothing to throw one at. I can only throw a grenade to an adjacent hex. So the 3 allows me to advance and look for cover. So I can advance, or I can get some cover, or I can advance and get some cover. What I can't do there is get some cover and then advance. That doesn't particularly make sense anyway, because you leave cover behind when you advance. But the point is, these 2 orders, you can do either or you can do both. But if you do both, you have to do them in the order stated. So you can see, for example, here at 5, there is a fire and advance order, so you'd have to fire before advancing, whereas 6 is advance and fire, one of the most useful orders for a rifle squad, where you can actually move up a hex and then fire. So there's things to think about there as well. So I'm going to use a 3, if anything, which is advance to cover. Now, do I do that if I advance into one of these 2 here? And advance means advance. So in this game, you can never move your units backwards. This is A, to make the game a bit more interesting and have a bit more to think about, but also just to reflect the fact that, at this time, in World War II, it was very much a case of advancing through northern France as effectively as possible and removing those defensive German units. So I could advance. If I do, I can go to either of these 2 hexes here. The problem being, or the issue being, if I move adjacent to this question mark, it will reveal the unit in that building, which will then be set up facing the unit that's discovered it. In other words, this one. If I scouted it, on the other hand, I can set its facing, although it has to be one of the 3 hexes downwards. So I could, for the benefit of him, I could face it over there if I scouted it and then attack its flank, because enemy units in this game don't move, so once set up they stay there. Better still would be to scout it and face it this way to help all these guys over here get up here without being affected by this unit. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to advance and take cover. So I'm going to push up to here. Yeah, I'm going to push up to here, which will reveal that unit. So let's do that first. So revealing a unit, you look at this enemy unit table here, you can see it tells you if you roll a 1, you get an HMG, a 2 to 4 will be an LMG, and a 5 to 6 will be a rifle squad. So higher the better for us, really. So let's see what we get there. It's a 2. Not brilliant, but not the worst. So it's a light machine gun. I'm going to use these lighter grey, these lighter grey units for, sorry, no, I'm not using what I'm talking about. Using mid-grey, doesn't matter. Mid-grey cube for a light machine gun. And I have to face it, as I said, pointing towards my unit because they discovered it, sort of ran into it, if you like. So he goes in there. Remember, in my other half of my order here, I could advance and then take some cover. So he's going to take some cover, and I'm going to use a green cube for that, if he's sort of hiding behind a hedge or something. So he takes cover in there, which means he'll be harder to hit, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. So that's the first unit activated. So second rifle squad I'm going to do now. Again, you can do these in any order. So let's see what happens here. Okay, it's a 4 and a 6. So he could fire at an adjacent unit and then take cover, or could advance and then fire. And again, I could really have done with a scouting order just to scout out this. Although units on the edge are problematic because you can only face them here or here, so they're still going to be shooting. We'll look at facing in a minute for enemy units, but they would still be shooting at us. So again, I think I'm going to take a bit of a risk here, and I'm going to advance and fire, which will leave him a bit vulnerable if he doesn't destroy whatever's in this building, but we'll see. So again, Let's roll to see what comes out of the enemy chart. Oh dear, it's an HMG. Now these are pretty lethal things, especially when they're in a building. Not great. So again, he's facing the unit that discovered him. You see here a heavy machine gun hits on a 5+. Remember, that's on 2 dice as well, so you can see that, you know, they're not going to miss much, especially if you're in the open. I can't take cover, but the second part of my order, remember, was advance. It was an advanced fire order. I rolled a 6, so I do get to fire first at this HMG, which is going to be quite crucial, I think. So this is a rifle unit. So for me, a rifle squad shoots on an 8 basic, an 8+. Remember, with 2 dice. However, it's on a hill, and here it says any unit attacking from a hill -1. So rather than 8+, I now need a 7+. So a bit of advantage from firing from the top of a hill. Okay, whether it's just simply because I can see more clearly or whatever, but that's what it is. So 7+ to hit. However, because this HMG is in a building hex, any unit defending in a building +2. So the 7+ now becomes a 9+. Okay, so fairly straightforward. Basic 8, 9 for being on here. Sorry, 7 for being on here, but 8, 9 for because the target's in a building. So 9+. Not a great percentage chance. Something about 28%. Just under 1 in 3. Let's see how we get on. Oops. We got a 4. Pretty disastrous. Oh, hang on. No, cancel that. I'll keep the roll. I'll keep the roll because that's very sorry. I forgot something. My mortar is back here, of course. How silly of me. So my mortar team, remember, it gets a -2 bonus if 2 hexes away. So the mortar team here is actually providing supporting fire into here because he is 2 hexes away. So rather than a 7, 8, 9, rather than a 9, it would have been a 7 to hit because I got support from the mortar. But I'm not going to re-roll the dice. I got a 4, fair's fair, and that's a miss. Okay, so that's that. So the 2 rifle squads have moved and they're both now pretty vulnerable, but we'll see how that plays out at the end of the turn. Let's hope that this other rifle squad here then can help out a bit. So he could really do with another 6 here so that he can advance and fire as well. Let's see what he gets. Oh dear, it's a double 1, which means he can... Oh, actually, thinking about it, no, it's not too bad. Because it's a double, then I can do, obviously, the order that's reflected by that, which is a 1. So he could rally. We can't rally because he's not been hit yet. He can't throw a grenade because he's not close enough. So that's no good. However, because it's a double, I can re-roll it if I wish. But if I do, I have to re-roll both dice, which I'm happy to do here. So I'm going to re-roll the double. I get a 5, double 5. Okay, that's a fire and advance order. Now, it will allow me to advance, but of course I can't then fire because it's the wrong way round. Yeah, maybe you have to do them in order if you do both. So I'm going to re-roll again, which you can do many times as you like, as long as it's a double. Right, this time we're stuck with what we've rolled. So we've got an advance to cover or a fire and then cover. We can't fire, and there's no point in taking cover back here because there's nothing going to shoot him. All these things shoot adjacent only, although cover is useful against artillery. That's something I do need to bear in mind. So let's think. Obviously 3 is the better order here, which is advance and cover. Question, do I advance onto here though, because then he's going to get shot at by this HMG without any cover apart from his own, which is not great. So what I'm going to do, I think for now, is just advance him to here and then take cover. So again, he'll get behind a hedge or something, which at least protects him from the artillery strike at the end of the round. Yeah, this is not the best start I've ever had. Let's see what happens next. Machine gunner, my light machine gunner, I'm going to move him if I can. Am I 2-5? Let's have a look. So I've got to remember to look at the machine gun team columns here. So 2 of him is advance and cover, and 5 is fire and cover. So I think I'm going to do the same with him. I'm going to advance him into here, and he takes his own cover there as well. Okay, so he's behind the hedge as well. Finally, the mortar team. Now, mortars can't attack directly. You can see their chart is fairly straightforward. They generally can rally fairly easily, I guess, because they're away from the action. They always have the option to advance in all 6 of their orders, as long as they're in full health. because if they're not in full health, they can only use the first order, but we'll come to that if we see that later on. And they can take cover with something. So let's see what they get. Again, yeah, I got a 4 and a 5, so advance and cover is the only thing they've got. So again, I think I'm going to do the same with them, actually. I'm going to move them onto this hex. I think that's useful because the mortar team is now providing supporting fire to this hex, but also to this hex over here. So if I get a chance to fire again with those, they're going to both be supported. So you can see in this turn, the mortar supported one attack and also then had its own activation. So that's how mortars work. But by supporting other units, they're not activating as such. They still get to do their own activation. So that's the end of my turn. I've moved or activated all 5 of my units. As I say, not the best start ever. So what happens now is that the enemy activates, and we just check each of the enemy cubes, or enemy units I should say, and they will attack every unit in their facing. And the facing is always the 3 hexes surrounding the way they are facing. So for example, this HMG at the top is facing into these 3 hexes there where the yellow cubes are, because it's facing down the map. It can shoot into all 3 of those. Okay, so it would shoot every unit in there. This heavy machine gun is facing downwards as well. That is facing those 2 hexes like that. Obviously the other one would be over here, but it's off the map, it doesn't count. And this LMG again is facing down, so it will be facing those 3 hexes there and can attack those. So they attack all units in those particular hexes. Doesn't matter about the order, get to choose that. Really makes too much difference, but let's have a look. So this HMG will be shooting at this guy here. There is no defense bonus for being on a hill, it just gives you an attack bonus. So this HMG shoots with a 5+, it says here, and that's it. So not a great position to be in. I really needed him to eliminate him. It was a risk. It didn't come off. He now needs a 5+. Let's hope for a 4. It's a 7. It's a 7. So my guy's hit. Now what happens to British units is that we just put a hit marker with it. It basically means they've lost morale. And when they activate next time, they only get to roll 1 order dice instead of 2, which kind of restricts certainly restricts the choices they get. So that's that HMG. This light machine gunner now can activate, and he will shoot again all units in there. So this time he's shooting at this guy, and our LMG shoots hits on a 6+. There's no attack bonus for being in a building. That's just a defense bonus. However, my guy is under 1 layer of cover, so the 6+ becomes a 7+. So let's see what happens here. And they roll an 8. So they have also hit this rifle unit here, and things are going from bad to worse. Finally, the artillery will strike, and the artillery attacks every unit on the map that is not in cover. Now straight away I can see that this guy's in cover, this rifle's in cover, this MG's in cover, the mortar's in cover. It's only this rifle squad here on the hill that's not in cover. So the artillery attacks this guy here. Fortunately, an artillery only attacks on a 10+. I didn't want to make them too overpowered, because it's a little bit out of my control, although getting into cover is something I can try and do, and indeed did with most of the units. 10+ then, they've missed. Had they hit this unit, because it's already lost a level of morale, it would have been removed from the game. That's the end of turn 1. Slide the turn tracker on 1 or mark it off as a cross. And we're on turn 2. And to be fair, we haven't made a lot of progress, although we have revealed some enemies and we need to know what we're facing. So I'm going to start with this rifle unit over here. I'm remembering he's supported by this mortar unit if he attacks this building. Let's see what happens. So he still rolls 2 dice. Actually, I'm just thinking, did I say earlier that if they've lost morale, they only roll 1 dice? That's wrong. They still roll 2 dice, but they can only perform the order in the first column, is what I meant to say. So apologies for that. I'll show you how it works now. This rifle squad has lost morale. It's been hit. So it rolls 2 dice. So it's still got a choice of orders. but it can now only perform the one in the first column here. So for example, rifle squads having lost morale can no longer scout, and they can no longer use grenades, but they can still do these things here. With a 3 and a 4, he can advance or he can fire. I'm going to fire. So so that's done exactly the same way. The lack of morale doesn't affect that. So this rifle unit will fire at this light machine gun. It's an 8+ to hit. He's in a building, that makes it a 10+. And fortunately we've got this mortar support who's firing over here, which brings it back down to 8+. And we really could do with this. We've got an 8. Yeah, we've got an 8. That's good news. So that removes that unit. So enemy units are removed on 1 hit. Enemy units are removed on 1 hit. Okay, and the aim of this game was very much to make it playable and have tactical decisions, strategic decisions, but not have too much moving around, that's why the enemy doesn't move. The enemy has a fixed facing. It's part of the strategy, but it's also just avoids having to keep moving around, particularly for people who are playing this on the go with a sort of pencil and eraser and so on. Just keeps things more manageable. But still present you with a nice challenge. So that's him, he's done. He's done. So he's still low in morale, he's still behind cover. We've now eliminated that unit. What I'm going to do is just put a white cube over that question mark to show that that's gone. Again, if you're playing with a pencil, you can just put a line through it. So that building is now clear. We're free to move into there and use the cover for our own benefit. Let's have a look at what's going to happen over here. I'm going to go for this rifle unit on the hill next. So again, he's lower. He's got low morale, but he still rolls the 2 dice, and he can advance or advance. So they're not great. That's not a great roll for him. It's not a great roll. And in fact, what I'm going to do, I think, is advance him up to here. No, I'm not actually. No, I'm not. I'm going to... Yeah, tricky. I'm going to keep him there, I think. Just keep him there. He's providing a bit of support into this hex. Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. The final rifle unit then I'm going to do here gets a 2 and a 5. Oh dear. He can advance and scout. Or he can fire in advance. Could really done with a 6 so he could have advanced and done something to this guy. I think he's going to scout. He's going to use a scout order to see what's in this hex here. So let's show you how that works. So we're going to reveal the unit in there, the scout order. So let's see what's there first of all. It's a 6. That's a good roll for us. That's a rifle, German rifle squad. They hit on an 8+ like ours do. So not so bad. So he's going to start in this hex, but because I've scouted it, I get to select his facing, but it has to be one of the 3 downward facings, or for an edge piece, one of the 2 downward. For an edge hex, one of the 2 downward facings. So he can face here, or here, or here. So I think what I'm going to do is face him over to this building here. Okay, so he's facing over there. Maybe trying to provide some kind of cover to the HMG in there or something, but that's what he's doing. And what that means is he can only shoot into these 2 hexes here, which does leave a sort of clearer passage up the side. I might just push a couple of units around the side to deal with him once I've got rid of that artillery piece. Let's see how that plays out, although I'm desperately beginning to run out of time already here because I'm just not making too much progress. And I'm pretty concerned about this guy on here. But we'll see what happens. So that's the 3 rifle squads done. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Okay, machine gun. Oops, see what he can do. 3 and a 1. So the machine gun team can rally or advance and seek cover. So again, not brilliant. Machine gun teams can never advance and fire. They're more bothered about moving, getting cover, and then opening fire. So what he's going to do is just move forward. I have to take risks now. Time is pressing, so he's going to go there. He loses his cover when he moves, so that doesn't get left behind. You just take it off the board altogether. But because he's doing an advancing cover order, he can then seek new cover, so that helps a little bit. But he's probably going to get wiped out in a moment. Not brilliant. And my mortar team, I think, I'd hope, yeah, we can move them, advance and cover, which is good. So again, he loses a cover when he advances. I'm going to move him to there, and he'll get the cover back, because it's an advance and cover order, which means he's obviously protecting against the artillery, but it means he still could support any attacks into this hex, but also into this hex as well, whilst making some progress up the map, albeit probably not enough. Yeah. Okay, so enemy turn. The HMG in this building will shoot at both of these now. You saw before, it's just a 6+ for him. He has no cover. I couldn't get him any cover. I couldn't fire. Didn't have that option, so he's really struggling on this hill. 6+. It's a 6. Sorry, 5+. I'm talking about, it's a heavy machine gun. 5+. It's a 6. He's hit him. He is gone because he's already lost morale. He's removed from the battlefield. The heavy machine gun will also shoot at my light machine gun, which is pretty bad. He needs a 5, but it's a 6 because he's undercover. Note that the enemy Germans don't get supporting fire from there. They're just them shooting. So 5 + 1 is 6. 11, which means my machine gunner is hit. So we put a marker next to him. Not great. And then this light machine gun, remember we shoot there and there, so he's going to shoot at my machine gunner as well. Would be a 6+ +1 for the cover, makes it a 7+. We really need him to miss this. It's a 9, which wipes out my light machine gunner. Yeah. Interesting. That's all their units. This HMG at the top still can't shoot anyone. Other than their artillery, so again they will shoot anyone not in cover, but all the 3 units I have remaining are in cover, so the artillery won't fire this time. Move on to turn 3. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit dire, to be honest. A little bit dire. Okay, let's try this. I really could do the 6 here, please. Oh, it's a double 4, so that's fire and cover. No good to me. I'm going to roll again. Oh, we got a 6. We'll take the 6. Double 6s, we'll take. So you can only do 1, so we'll take the 6. Advance and fire. He just has to do that. So he loses a cover by doing this, but he moves up there, and he's going to fire at this guy in here. It's an 8+ because he's a rifle. It's increased to a 10 because he's in this building. But he has the support of his mortars, reduced back to 8. So we need this. We don't get it. It's a 6. Yeah, awful. And this other rifle squad here. Let's do arms to him. He's got a 2 and a 4. So he's going to advance. He's going to advance and scout, in fact, with a 2. 4 is fire and cover. That's no good. So take the 2. So he's going to advance and scout. So he advances into this building here. Oh, hang on. Sorry, he can't scout. Sorry, he's been hit, hasn't he? So he can only do the first one, but he will advance into this building, taking his hit with him, but not his cover. But he is now under the cover of this building. Okay, remember, low morale only does the first order, so he advanced. I think that's probably it. I don't think I need to do anything with my mortar. He's fairly safe there, providing support still and undercover, so we'll leave him there. Okay, this is not going to last too much longer, I don't think. This HMG fires at him, and he needs a 5+, which he misses with a double 1. So I flick that over to a 5 with my thumb. I hope you saw that before I covered up honestly. Double 1. So misses. The light machine gun can also shoot him, so he needs a 6+. And he gets it, so that hits him. So he takes a morale drop. Then the artillery fires at everyone not in cover. He's in cover because he's in a building, this rifle squad. The mortar team is in the bush, so they're in cover, or behind the bush. This guy's not in cover, so a 10+ will eliminate him. Thought it was coming, but it didn't. And that's the end of that round. Turn 4. And I mean, we've eliminated this guy in this building. We've got these two to get rid of. We've got a guy to find here, a guy to find up here, and an HMG to eliminate here. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But let's see how we get on. I should stress this is mission 13 out of 15, so you wouldn't expect it to be easy. It's doable. I played it yesterday and managed to clear the final unit, the HMG, on my last turn with a rifle squad with some support. Missions start much easier than this in the early stages of the book. In fact, they start really simply back here. So, for example, the first mission looks like that. So don't be put off by the difficulty. But solo gamers, we all like it hard, don't we? We all like it to be difficult. No one wants an easy victory every time. Okay, so turn 4, what am I going to do? What on earth am I going to do? Let's start with this rifle squad here and see what happens. 2 and 5, so he can fire in advance, or he can get used to it. Sorry, it's only one order he can do, is he can advance or he can fire. So he's going to fire. And again, he's going to shoot this HMG. We know by now it's an 8+. It's 10 for the building. It's back to 8 because of the mortar support. 8+, please. Somebody give me an 8+. It's a 4. Awful. Just nothing's with me today on this. Nothing's with me. So that's pretty awful. The rifle squad in this building over here, also on low morale, gets a 1 and 3. In fact, what I'll do is rally. I'll rally him with a 1. Just to show you how it works. It's not necessarily the best move to do here, but if you choose the rally order, then you remove the hit, which means the morale is back to full. So next time he can do 2 orders again. As I say, that the use of that really depends on where you're on the clock, how far up you are, and so on and so forth. But probably fair to say that early on in missions it's worth doing, but by the time you're to this kind of halfway point or later, it's probably not. But I've done it there just to show how that would work. The mortar team again, yeah, I'm probably not going to bother moving him. Probably not going to bother moving. Actually, yeah, thinking about it, I probably should have left him here, shouldn't I? Because he was supporting the artillery, attack on the artillery. Anyway, forget that. Probably another mistake I've made, but as in bad tactical mistake. Okay, that's that. So yeah, leave my mortar team where it is. Not much else going on. Yeah. So these units then fire back. This HMG will shoot to this guy, for which he needs a 5+. It's an 8. He's now gone. The LMG would have shot into those 2 areas, but there's no one there now. The artillery will shoot everyone not in cover, but the couple of units I've got left are both in cover. It's the end of that turn. Move on to turn 5. My rifle guy in here, this is what he gets. Now full health, of course, so he can do both things. So he can fire in advance. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the fire in advance. I'll leave the 5 there to remind me. So he's going to fire, then advance. So he's going to fire at this artillery squad here. Remember, he needs an 8+ to hit. The rifle squad needs an 8+ to hit. So he needs a basic 8. He unfortunately doesn't get support from this mortar team, which is why I probably should have left it there to support that. But anyway, so it's an 8 to clear this artillery. It's a 7. Excellent. And the mortar team itself, yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do here. This is a bit soul destroying. I think I'll just leave them there. They can't do anything. Move on to my next turn. My rifle guy gets a 5 and a 6. So he is going to do the fire in advance again. So he's going to fire at the artillery again. He's an 8. He's failed that, which is no good whatsoever. Yeah, poor, really, by me, I think, all round. Those units can't do anything. The artillery won't shoot. Move on to the next turn. You can see this is now fading out to a fairly dull or very poor loss, I should say. Roll again, the double. I'm going to roll that again. That. Oh, we've got a grenade attack. Let's do that just to show how that works. So we'll take the 1. Could rally if necessary, but we can't do that. So we're going to grenade. So this rifle guy going to throw a grenade. Now that's what this second hit here is. The 6+ is a grenade hit, and no bonuses apply whatsoever to either side. No terrain, no support, nothing. So it's just a straightforward 6+ for a grenade attack. So straight on the artillery. It's a 6. Artillery, sorry. Artillery. That clears the artillery. Good, which is good, I guess, but can't do anything else. My mortar guy is going to stay there. Because potentially providing support. They can't attack anybody. Time moves on. Rifle guy gets that. He tries in vain to move over towards this guy with a 4. So he can move and take cover. So he does that. But it's not really going to help at this point. No point moving my artillery, my mortar. They can't shoot anything because he's, remember, facing this way. So he's firing into these 3. That's the end. Yeah, a terrible performance. Absolutely devastated. We managed to clear, I think, 2 of their units here, didn't we? Cleared this building, cleared the artillery. We found these 2. We never even found these units up here. Never mind got to this HMG, which of course is on a hill and in a building. As I say, you have to believe me after that shocking performance. Yesterday I did manage to clear this mission, but fair to say some of these later missions are tricky. You know, they are tricky. It's not that you have to get, you have to get perfect dice rolls every time to win, not by a long way, but you do have to probably think about it a little bit more than I did on this playthrough. It's always more difficult on the camera because I'm aware I want to move on at some sort of pace. Plus I want to show you different things, of course. So, we've seen scouting and grenades and other things there that, and some things I may not have done normally. Try to push things on probably a bit too quickly at the start. Worth trying to plan tactics. Maybe it would be better to start more units here and sort of take this line of enemy units out, one by one, rather than trying to take them all on, almost all, at the same time, which is always problematic. So yeah, different things to think about, and there are decisions to make. Good. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers now, everyone.